Money doesn't stay where it isn't respected. Most people think wealth is about how much you make, but the truth is, it's about how much you keep and how hard that money works for you.
Most people are chasing a paycheck, but they're actually running on a treadmill that leads to nowhere. Wealth isn't the number on your tax return. It's the distance between your income and your ego. If you don't respect your money, it will find a home with someone who does.
We are often taught how to work for a paycheck, but rarely how to make that paycheck work for us. Why do some people thrive on a modest income while others are perpetually exhausted and broke, regardless of their salary? It isn't luck, it's a system. Stop looking at your bank account as a spending fund and start seeing it as your freedom fund. Every dollar you mismanage is a soldier you've lost in the battle for your financial independence. What if I told you a man who spent his life sweeping floors and pumping gas died with a secret $8 million fortune? Most people think wealth is a lightning strike, but Ronald Read proved it's a grind. He didn't wear designer clothes or drive luxury cars. He wore old coats held together by safety pins and drove a second-hand car. While the world was busy looking rich, Ronald was busy becoming wealthy in the dark.
This is story of a common man, the janitor who outperformed Wall Street. For decades, Ronald Read lived a life that most would consider unremarkable. He worked as a gas station attendant and later as a janitor in a local department store. He drove a second-hand car, wore old clothes held together by safety pins, and spent his free time chopping wood. When he passed away in 2014, his neighbors and coworkers were stunned to find out he had $8 million in the bank.
How he did it. Ronald didn't win the lottery or inherit a fortune. He simply spent as little as possible and put every spare cent into blue-chip stocks. He didn't chase get-rich-quick schemes. He held his investments for decades, allowing the 4 a.m. success formula of compounding interest to work while he slept. He stayed consistent through market crashes and economic shifts, focusing on the long-term version of himself that could not be broken. Ronald Read proved that wealth is the gap between your income and your ego. While others were spending to look rich, he was managing his money to actually be wealthy. He didn't just have a dream, he had the discipline to finish the race. Why did a janitor leave behind millions while high earners die in debt? It's because we've been conditioned to trade our peace for stuff when we're tired. When you wake up exhausted, you make poor financial choices to compensate for that lack of energy. You aren't buying a product, you're buying a temporary escape from a life you haven't designed yet. Real wealth management starts before the world wakes up. It's the 4 a.m. success formula. Discipline in your morning leads to discipline in your ledger. Wait 24 hours before any non-essential purchase. The 24-hour rule isn't just about saving money, it's about reclaiming your focus. Before you hit buy on anything that isn't a survival necessity, you walk away. If you still feel it's a strategic investment in your future self, 24 hours later, proceed. But 90% of the time, the urge will vanish because you realized it was just a temporary band-aid for your stress. Next, automate your investments so you never see the money you're growing. If you rely on willpower to save, you've already lost. To reach the level of success we discuss in Why You Haven't Reached Your Potential Yet, you must automate your discipline. Set up a recurring transfer that moves your investment capital the second your income arrives. If you never see it, you'll never miss it. You aren't losing money. You're buying back your time in the future, one automated brick at a time. Only spend on what fuels your growth, not what masks your fatigue. Most people aren't broke because they don't make enough. They're broke because they're trying to buy back the energy they lost at a job they hate. They spend on things that mask their fatigue. The late-night takeout, the impulse subscription, the treat-yourself gadget that ends up in a drawer. Stop masking the symptoms and start fueling the engine. Ask yourself before every swipe, does this purchase build my future self, or does it just hide my current exhaustion? If it doesn't sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, or buy back your time, it's a leak in your fortress. Refer to Why You Haven't Reached Your Potential Yet. You cannot build a legacy on a foundation of band-aids. Every dollar saved is a brick in the fortress of your future. Imagine a version of you that doesn't check the price tag because your freedom fund is working while you sleep. That version of you is built in the mundane, boring moments of saying no today so you can say anywhere, anytime tomorrow.
To build the future you just imagined, you need more than intent. You need an architecture. Most people fail because their money is one giant, confusing pile. We're changing that today with the money bucket system.
The first bucket is necessity. It's capped at 50%. This is for your rent, your lights, and the food that fuels your body. Listen closely. If this bucket is overflowing, you aren't living. You're overextending. Most people wake up exhausted because they are sprinting just to keep their overhead from drowning them. They've bought a lifestyle they can't afford with energy they don't have. If your needs are eating 70% of your paycheck, you aren't a victim of the economy. You're a victim of your own lack of boundaries. Trim the fat. Downsize the ego. Until this bucket is under 50%, you don't have a money problem. You have a discipline problem. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation that's already cracking under its own weight. The second bucket is the most sacred. It's your financial freedom bucket, and it's capped at 10%. Think of this money as your golden goose. Its only job is to lay golden eggs, passive income that pays for your life while you sleep. Most people fail, because the moment their goose grows a little bit, they kill it to buy a new phone or a flashier car. They eat the bird instead of the eggs. In this 90-day rewire, you are making a pact. This money is untouchable. You don't spend it, you deploy it. You are buying back your future time, one increment at a time. This is how you shift from being a worker to being an owner. This is how you build a version of yourself that cannot be broken by a paycheck. The third bucket is for your long-term goals, allocated at 10%. This is for the big moves that define your physical world. A home, a vehicle that serves your purpose, or the cinematic equipment needed to scale Mystic Minute Vault into a global powerhouse. Most people see a big goal and reach for a credit card. They trade their future freedom for an instant upgrade. But a true finisher knows that if you can't save for it, you haven't earned the discipline to own it yet. This bucket is your patience fund. It's where you prove that you are the architect of your life, not a slave to a monthly payment. You aren't just saving money. You are building the capacity to handle bigger responsibilities without breaking your foundation. The fourth bucket is for short-term goals, your 10% growth fuel. This isn't for survival, and it isn't for toys. This is for the smaller wins that sharpen your edge. It's the new course that teaches you a skill you'll use for a decade. It's the growth fuel, the high-quality nutrition or the ergonomic tools that ensures you stop waking up exhausted and start waking up empowered. Most people see self-improvement as an expense. A finisher sees it as an investment. Every dollar in this bucket is designed to increase your market value. When you sharpen the axe, the tree falls faster. Don't just work hard. Work smart by fueling your growth consistently. The fifth bucket is play, and it's non-negotiable at 10%. Discipline without joy is just a countdown to burnout. This is your guilt-free spending fund. It's for the dinner out, the weekend trip, or the hobby that keeps your spirit high. Most people fail because they try to be perfect. They starve their desires until they eventually snap and blow their savings on an impulse spree. We don't do that. We reward our consistency. By spending this 10% every month, you tell your brain that the grind is worth it. You aren't just a worker. You're a human being who has earned the right to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This is how you stay in the game long enough to win. The final bucket is give, allocated at 10%. Wealth is like water. If it doesn't circulate, it stagnates. Most people are so focused on their own survival that they never realize the true power of money is the ability to change the world around them. This 10% is for impact beyond yourself. It's for the cause you believe in, the person who needs a hand up, or the legacy you want to leave behind. When you give, you break the chains of scarcity. You prove to yourself that you are a producer, not just a consumer. A true finisher doesn't just reach their own potential, they create the space for others to reach theirs too. This is how you move from being successful to being significant. The world doesn't need more people who look rich, it needs more finishers who are wealthy. This is day one of your financial rewire. Stop letting your potential leak through small holes in your pocket, and try to understand why this mindset shift is the first step.